There we go. Good to see you guys. We just lost Troy. Um, I hope my Wi-Fi holds up. We've been without electricity all morning, and it just went back on, so we'll see. Hello, everybody. Back to mind training. And again, it's through A Course in Miracles. I just need to say that because that's my focus is A Course in Miracles, and Jesus seems to give me everything I need out of this one book and keeps it simple. And so yesterday Matt shared, and oh my God, there was so much that came through for me. And a lot of it was about the power of the mind. And, I don't know where it is in the text, but it talks about we fear the power of our minds. We're terrified of the power of our minds. And this is a lot of what came up yesterday for me, was looking at well, let me just read this sentence and it'll kind of get me going in the right direction. So this is in, I think it's chapter 2. Hang on. Yeah, chapter 2, Fear and Conflict. Just a couple of sentences. You may believe that you are responsible for what you do, but not for what you think. The truth is that you are responsible for what you think, because it is only at this level you can exercise choice. So we have no control over doing, and we'll just run around, do, which I have most of my life. And so what? But now when you pull it back into your mind, you only have, that's where choice lives, in the mind. And for me, one of the things, this has been coming up for a while, but a lot of it I just put on the altar, then walk away from, and don't really give it, I think, the proper prayer. And for prayer for me is to really go deep with stuff that's coming up and not just let it to slide off into the next thought. And so I hope, can you hear that outside? Okay, good. Perfect. It's only me that needs to forgive it. So one of the things that's been going on for me, and I think I mentioned it in here once, was that, I've gotten some critical fan mail. And it always gives me pause. I mean, no one likes to be criticized, but I really have learned that it's not for me to respond to it with, no, that's not right. Mine is just to thank whoever is sending me and just thank you. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying thank you for bringing that to my attention and let me go deeper with it in my mind. And so one of the things that Matt said yesterday, he just mentioned it briefly, but boy, I caught it. He was saying, oh, shoot, I've gotten so much negative, emails back from what I'm sharing. And I thought, wow, really? And I really sat with this. I put it on the altar to see it differently. And I sat with this. What is it that's upsetting to me? What is it that's upsetting to me? And what it worked out to is this whole power of the mind thing. If I am believing they're right, and there are those thoughts of, what did I do wrong? Because that's where my default is. What did I do wrong? Because I must have done something wrong to elicit that kind of feedback. And I even mentioned it I emailed Matt after the call and just was kind of going for clarity on it. And I already had it. And that was, I don't trust myself. Okay. Now just hold that thought for a second. So we're talking about the power of the mind here. We fear the power of the mind. Look at the world. Has anyone seen any chaotic situations lately? Yeah, we can go in denial and say, oh, no, everything's fine. Shit, it is not. It's crazy out there. Talk about chaos. It's chaotic. Well, somewhere in our minds, we're thinking again that God is responsible for the world and what happens to us. Okay? So there's a distrust of God. Now, in Matt's share yesterday, and he was quite clear about this, if you put a picture of Jesus up, put your picture right next to it. You are Jesus. You are God. So if you're hanging on, I'm sure it hasn't happened to anyone else, but it certainly has for me. And this has been since the cancer, because it started with the cancer diagnosis, and I got very fucking angry at God. It's like, how could you do this? I'm basically a nice person. Why do I deserve terminal cancer? Okay, I'm just saying that was my experience. But that was me not trusting God. And there was that part of me that was automatically saying, God is responsible on some level. So if I'm not trusting God, guess who I'm also not trusting? Me. And if I'm not trusting me, guess what you're going to get? A lot of confusion. A lot of confusion. And well, I won't mention who in the group, but you said it for all of us about, having people say, oh, you're so great. Let's just take a positive statement. Oh, you're so great. And then my response in my mind will be, really? Are you sure? Really? That's me not trusting me. That's not me seeing the power of my mind. That's not me stepping into this experience of I am God and I have control. I'm going to go back and I'm going to read this 2 sentences out of A Course in Miracles again. You may believe that you are responsible for what you do, but not for what you think. The truth is that you are responsible for what you think. Because it is only at this level you can exercise choice. And this choice is that I love and trust myself completely. No matter what anyone says, no matter what anything does or happens, I trust myself as the loving thought in the mind of God that I am. And if I don't, then there's a lot deeper work to go in and work on. I mean, to really unearth these unconscious beliefs that are keeping us stuck in the chaos of the world. Next to Jesus' picture, put your picture. Because ultimately, the whole Course in Miracles is about trusting ourselves. And we don't. We just don't. We'll ask other people's opinions. We'll do everything but trust ourselves. It's like, I don't know. I don't have a great track record. I mean, I got to my core belief. The core belief of my life was, I am so fucked. That was at the base of all my beliefs. Then you think, how could you trust someone that believes that they are so fucked? Would I trust someone that said that about themselves? No, not a chance. And so it's really just stepping into our magnitude, stepping into our gloriousness, really embodying our Christ, embodying the Christ, the one loving mind that we never learned how to do. And that's why this is called mind training. And this is the mind training. It's unlearning all this negative nonsense that we tell about ourselves. Oh, I'm not doing anything these days, and I'm not worthy. I mean, how many times have you said I'm not worthy? It's like that's just making a statement of how we see ourselves. And the only way we can change that around is to really do the mind training and go, put it on the altar as soon as you hear yourself or think that. Put it on the altar. It's like, nope, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. I am worthy. I'm perfect. I'm innocent. I'm loving. I'm all powerful. And this is how we switch from that mind that sees and believes everything through our perception, our senses, and switches it to seeing everything through truth only. Because once we see through truth only, there's different things that start shifting about. And one thing that I was asking Matt about was this one situation, and this person sent a very eloquent and lengthy email about how I was doing a huge disservice to A Course in Miracles around the world, and how I bought into it by doubting myself. And he was saying, as you get clearer and clearer, more nonsense will show up at your door. More nonsense will show up to prove that you're not worthy. And it's really the mirror that we're giving ourselves to test how we're thinking now. Okay, you say you're thinking differently. You say you're thinking through the mind of God. Are you really? Let's try this email. Let's see how this lands. And so any doubt that comes in after some, person saying you're so great, or you get an email that sends you into a doubt state of I'm not good enough or I did something wrong, is just feeding the lower mind. It's feeding that mind that was not created in God's mind. Ego, it's all ego. And it's really to take those emails and go, and I said thank you, but there was still so much doubt when I said thank you. And I went into deep prayer about it. And the prayer was all about, am I doing something wrong? Because that's my default mechanism. I must be doing something wrong. And it's for me to step into, nope, I'm just sharing my heart and what I know to be true. And I will test myself with my ego on a fairly regular basis to see if I'm doubting that. Because if I'm doubting it, guess who has a chance to slip in and send me nonsense thoughts? Ego. See, I told you, you got too big for your britches. You thought you were someone better than what you are. And it's kind of like, it's really, there's no other words for it, but to step into our magnitude. It's not to deny the feelings that come up, but don't linger on them. they won't be helpful. And it's to see everything like that shows up as a test you're giving to yourself to see if you really believe this. Because if you don't, guess who's going to slip in and take charge and, run you towards the railroad tracks and tie you down? Ego. And so it's really, this is the vigilance with the mind training. It's like, really stand in the truth of who I am, and anything that shows up in my mirror that isn't that, it's not to fight with the person. It really, the best thing to do is to just, if you get an ugly email, say thank you. Because it doesn't matter. All that matters is my response in my mind. I can't control what other people are thinking or saying or doing. I have no control over that. I just have control over my mind. And it's only if I really see that I am totally responsible for what I think. What I think. And I remember when I got the email, I was kind of like taken back and, oh my God, I got this deep hole in the pit of my gut. And it was like, oh my God, because again, I fell back into my default belief of who I am. I'm fucked. And that was created pretty much from birth on. And then I just lived in a chaotic world, coping as best I could. But now it's like, I feel like I'm a grown-up finally, over 70, and she's finally feeling like a grown-up. It's like I can take charge of my thoughts and deny anything that is not all powerful, not all loving, really. And believe me, I'm saying this for myself because yesterday was definitely a personal session into my thinking, which is always what I love. And it's like just to really hold on to the truth of who I am, which is I'm innocent, I'm loving, and whatever I'm extending, I have to trust is coming from my mind, capital M, the mind of Christ, because that's where I'm committed to living these days. So I'm going to read this again because I just feel like, if you can get the power of your mind, oh my God, there's no stopping any of us. You may believe that you are responsible for what you do, but not for what you think. The truth is that you are responsible for what you think, because it is only at this level you can exercise choice. So I get these emails. Well, there's no choice. I'd rather not have gotten the email, but I got the email. No choice. But my mind can participate in responding differently. And again, this is all contemplation. It's very personal. And it's just, if there's something that I have done, I definitely want to know about it so I can, look at what ego idea is driving me. And that's healthy. I mean, that's all of mind training. It's like always to challenge what we're thinking. Challenge what we're thinking. If we don't like something, put it on the altar, ask to see it differently, and see what clarity can come up out of that. And that's the beginning stages of mind training. And that really is only the beginning stages. And one of the things I've committed to before the 30-day deepening that I did, was I want to really explore creating with God, creating as God. Well, here it is. I didn't see myself as God, so I kept thinking that's not possible. Well, it is possible because I am committed to having my mind only loving. And I challenge those little thoughts all the time as they come up. You know, something comes up and I just go, oh, that's not helpful. Holy Spirit, help me see it differently. And then move on with my day. I mean, that's always happening. Or if I have a thought of someone from my past that I haven't completed something with, that doesn't happen often, but if it does, that's for me to complete and heal and put on the altar, asking for help to see it differently, because I can't do this by myself and I didn't learn how to think. And so Jesus is teaching me how to do this completely differently. And I am so grateful for having the willingness and the courage to not buy the book, because it kept coming into my life. Even when I'd get rid of it, the book would come back. But it was mine to open the damn thing up and start reading it. And go, yeah, there's some interesting points in here. And now it's my whole life. And I just, there's a part, I don't know. I'll stay in the moment. I'm not going to go there. But it's like, how much easier can we make our moment by moment experience by not allowing us to see or believe that we live in chaos, or believe things are being done to us, or believe that we have no control over anything, because we have the ultimate choice, which is changing our mind about everything. And that's huge. So with that being said, I'm going to turn off the recording.